Fantastic, fantastic. I'm so happy I'm connected. Big shout out to Lincia for helping us connect.
Yes.
And as I was telling you, once again, quick shout out to the kind of product designing that you've done. I love the goodie bag that you shared with me, and a lot of insights out there. And I thought that it's important. I truly believe in the idea that it's important that we kind of journal our everyday activities, right? People
True.
who work in corporate organizations, they use the power of journaling to be more productive and efficient with their work.
True.
And a lot of us, we kind of fail to understand and realize the power of journaling in our personal, emotional, and mental growth as well, spiritual growth in a larger sense. And I think it's a book like this that can really help a lot of us
Thank
uh,
you.
in terms of journaling our everyday activities and also seeing our progress in an everyday activity, because we kind of just forget the importance of doing that with our own self as much as we're involved in 100 activities that we do at work or otherwise. So
True.
thanks, yeah, Taranam, appreciate, dude.
Thank you, Clince. And did you know that the subconscious mind actually likes structure? And we think that it's all going to just fall into place, and your thoughts are scattered, you are everywhere, all over the place. Most of the time people just think that it's going to just happen or occur. But the moment you start journaling and putting those thoughts down and reviewing what you truly want, the more clarity that we have in life, uh, the better attraction or law of attraction starts working within ourselves
Mm,
and within our zone. That's
right.
why journaling is extremely important, and it's the most beautiful part of human life that we can express.
I'm completely with you on that. And I think this is a powerful tool that one can use. I'm super excited to start my journey with the journal. So, yeah.
Amazing. Have you used the affirmation cards?
I did go through it, but I was, hoping to have a chat with you and get in terms of like how do we exactly, is it like something that I pick up one by one every day, or is it just like when I feel, is it part of a routine that I develop as a morning routine? Because I have
Yes.
my own set of routine that I generally follow, and there is something that I always say, like my everyday go-to mantra is I say that boom shakalaka, it's a beautiful day, as I always say. So that's something that I say as part of my Instagram stories as well. And that has now over the period of time become like a mantra for a lot of people. And they say that, Clince, every day you kind of put the stories and you wake up and you do these things. It pumps us up also at some level. And it
Yes.
never started off with the idea of doing that. It just started off because it sounded cool, to be honest, and nothing else. And I realized the power within it as I consistently kept doing it. And I saw the reflection of it through people, and that's when I realized, hey, you know what, it's way beyond than just an Instagram story. And I kind of just adopted it. When I say that, I mean it, and I say that every day, I share it every day, with the idea that even if that creates an impact in the life of even just a person, right, and if that could kind of just bring a smile on their face or just make things a little more lighter, why not? So,
True.
but I think, you know what, the affirmation cards that you shared, it's just more structured. And as you said, our subconscious mind definitely does like structuring.
Structure it.
And
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, I
You
think
could do,
this.
cleanses that you can actually remove, you could use it like a tarot card also, okay?
Okay.
And remove three cards for the week at the start of the week, or you could do one each day like we would normally do. And I usually allow the universal guidance, so I won't pick it just off from the first this thing. I would shuffle, and then I will say, okay, universe, just give me my message for today. And one, when you pick up one card, it comes with that universal message. And
Mm.
like you said, that boom shakalaka, life is going to be amazing, that's or my day is going to be amazing. That's such a powerful energy builder. And yes, affirmations will actually enhance people. They will boost their glands in the brain, right? Your oxytocin, your serotonin, all of this starts building up. So that's a good start to a day. And when you have a ritual already, you can actually add this to your ritual to make it even more better.
So true, so true. I'm completely with you on that bit. And I truly believe that we can we can really make a difference in our own life. A lot of the challenges that we kind of face are the mental cook-ups of things that we are either, I mean, I'm a big fan of this gentleman called Sadhguru. I keep watching, I subscribe a lot of his content, and he kind of simplifies it saying that, two of our biggest superpowers is our ability to kind of, the vivid sense of imagination and a fantastic sense of memory, right? And the ability to, and this is what kind of determines and defines us from a lot of other animal kingdom mates, technically. And this is something that we also start using against ourselves. We're either worried about a future and unforeseen thing that can possibly happen, or we're still crying over something that went wrong yesterday or off the past. And we're still there, and it's just a loop that we kind of keep building, keep building. And it's important. I mean, people ask me, so what does a happiness coach do, right? And it's kind of exciting because people get into all those kind of debate of what happiness means to them and all of that. And I tell them that it's a happiness coach. I mean, it's like you go to a fitness trainer to get physically fit. And I mean, it's not just physically fit, but let's say physically fit and achieve the aesthetics of whatever you're looking at in terms of fitness or your body aesthetics or so on and so forth. And as a happiness coach, it's just the same, enabling you with certain kind of tools and exercises on your everyday activities, everyday life, to be able to deal with challenges that kind of takes you away from a happy zone to a zone where you're either stressed or anxious or the highest level of whatever you call as depression, and so on and so forth. So it's great. I think in times of technology today, we can use the power of technology to stay connected, to share ideas, and
And
jam along.
it's actually because when with the power of the like Instagram and all the social media that has opened up over the last 1 year with the COVID crisis, there was so much of challenge when you're communicating with people. One would have never even thought that the online space would be so different, and all of a sudden everybody was just online wanting to transform and change lives. But yes, I believe that Clince, it also comes with a lot of responsibility, and that responsibility lies on people who are passing out that message to a lot of people and kind of influencing the lives of people, because it's a huge, massive mental impression that we as people who can impart this kind of information which is spiritually attuned, which reaches out to so many people. And the moment you do that, you can actually take people from being depressed to this beautiful, amazing state of saying there is hope, there is
Yeah.
light, and keep looking out and keep watching out for life events, and stop thinking about how this will turn around and what will happen, and when will this change. I believe that life is this very moment, the moment we are conversing. This is life. Our awareness needs to be in the present. And a beautiful thing that I learned from Dr. Stanley Krippner, he keeps on saying that, everything is about, if every person who's having these anomalies, different type of experiences, for each of us, these experiences are so real. It's in the here and now. And the biggest aspect that we need to remove from all of these thought processes, that the mental chatter that goes on, is judgment towards oneself and others.
Yeah.
And that starts bringing a lot of clarity and impacting
Yeah.
lives too.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that. I mean, it's true that as in today's times, with the power of technology and your ability to reach to a lot of people, you must realize that it's just beyond just passing on information, and also a sense of responsibility needs to be inculcated, because never no time than ever before that we have the ability to communicate with people, to reach our thoughts, to engage with people. And this is what I always tell, or what I largely believe in terms of a mantra as well, in terms of engaging and inspiring people. Because every opportunity to connect with people, to engage with them, to entertain them, to inspire them, that's kind of the purpose in my life right now. And it makes me feel great. Of course, there is, I also at times think that I don't need to take myself so seriously, and I'm not the Messiah. It's not my responsibility to do all these things. And every time I have these voices in my head, it tells me that, oh, there must be something in the whole process of what I'm doing. It kind of is maybe pulling me down, or is maybe making me feel a bit challenged emotionally, or the amount of time put into it, the processes used. So I always use those kind of voices in my head to self reflect and work on myself, because I know that there will always be, if it's like, somebody wants to go and build like six-pack abs, for example, right? And you'll work out for 3-4 days, and then you're like, "Arey, nahi yaar, chhod yaar, maza nahi aa raha hai, it's too painful, or it's too time consuming, or mujhe, I would rather Netflix and chill." And I always say that it's when you have decided you want to do something, and at some point when you're pulled away from that, right? That's the point that you need to work on. It's that's the idea of working on a goal, is about when you are, when there are these voices that wants to withdraw you, right? You must just open the book and see why that voice is, where is it coming from, what is it that's kind of pulling you down or demotivating you. And that's where you need to work, because once you cross that challenge, it's not that you're not going to face challenges ahead, but you're better equipped to deal with these challenges in the journey as you go ahead of whatever goals we all want to achieve in life: personal, professional, financial, relationship driven, or whatever it is in that sense. So
Yes,
what a powerful point, Taranum. I'm completely with you on the fact that it is a responsibility that we all share in today's times.
true.
And it's a responsibility not just with influencers, coaches, consultants, trainers, but it's with everyone in that sense. Yeah, so
So my
that's
next
fantastic.
question would be, what do you think about intuition? And if you have had any experiences that you would want to share with me.
I mean, I'm not a big technical guy with intuitions, as much as I've heard about theories and things like that. I feel uh, as long as you have mastered the idea of what intuition is, and how well your intuition is beyond your subjective realm of understanding, but it has like a deep rooted idea of a lot more understanding of things, then it's great. Because sometimes it's kind of like, if you just believe that you have great intuition, it's like saying that I'm great at playing cricket but never played cricket. And the day you had to go and play cricket, you realize that, oh, you know what, I maybe wasn't as great as I thought I was. So as long as you're not, maybe like, you've not mastered that trick, right? Or that tool, or that experience, or whatever it is. So I am one of those guys who haven't really mastered much. I believe I have some kind of intuition when it comes to when I interact with some person, and if I get into a conversation about, let's say, for example, if it's business, right? You're negotiating a business deal. You get to understand through some of the conversations. But that, that's like muscle memory in that sense, right? Like if you've worked out in the gym, if you've pulled like 10 kgs, it's easy to do 12 and a half. You can't, you do 12 and a half, then it's easy to do 15. You can't just directly jump to like 35 or 40, right, in terms of weight. Just an example. So it's just like you can keep getting better at it. And I think my intuition with some of those business negotiations comes from the fact that I've done it for years. Or like, when you're in a relationship with someone, you kind of get to know each other, you understand the nuances, those non-verbal communications mean more. And if the resulted idea of analyzing all those things, and if that's what you call intuition, I think, in that sense. So I have a very vague idea about that. I could definitely learn a lot more from you in terms of how do you define intuition, and how can you master this art of being more intuitive in general. So Taranum, on to you.
Thank you so much. Um, Tell me, have you ever had any sort of paranormal or parapsychological experience or precognition where you have had, or deja vu, that this is going to happen, and it's just happened. If
Yeah,
you
I
have.
mean, I can definitely recollect of some of those moments where, I was expecting or thinking of someone and I got a call. I was thinking that, I should maybe be messaging that person. I was literally on the message, and I got like I saw typing happening from the other side. Or, I mean, and off the likes, maybe I thought that it's going to be the next ball is going to be a wicket, and it was a wicket. Or, of those kind of things. But at some level, I have not been able to rationalize with those ideas, because I think it's either by fluke. We always kind of give it either the idea of either it's by fluke, or maybe you were connected at some levels where that by fluke just felt by fluke, because you didn't realize that consciously that you were in tune with in that cosmic power or the cosmic energy or whatever you call it, right? So yeah, I mean, I am illiterate when it comes to these things, and I'm super excited because I know that I can learn a lot from you in terms of that. So
Thank you, Clince. Actually, it's not about being illiterate. I think a lot of people are just afraid. They're afraid
mm,
to ask questions connected to possibly. So when day in and day out, when people are reaching out to me, they ask me about past lives. They ask me about um, possibly about why certain things occurred in their lives, and we have all possibly had these sort of little bit of experiences, like just before somebody's grandma passed away, she came and she spoke to them for a while and then disappeared in thin air, and later they get to know that she's passed off. So there are a lot of these kind of experiences that people do have, but they have no way of reaching out and asking for this sort of information. Either they are too scared, or they do not know a source whom they could reach out to. So a lot of times I was just sitting today and I was watching videos of Dr. Stanley Krippner. I've been thinking about him. I want to do a lot of research in parapsychology. So now I'm thinking that maybe we should form an association. Something or the other is coming up where people can just go and put in their experiences and talk about parapsychological experiences that they would have had. And it's just so beautiful. This world is so mesmerizing.
so I mean, pretty exciting. So how do you kind of like master these arts of you know being intuitive or looking through certain conversation? Is it actually an art, or is it just the confidence or in your belief that you have known it so well, and your assumptions or analysis, like for example, right, let's say I just on and off kind of bringing in the whole cricket analysis, because I've been watching IPL of late a little more than ever before. We're into the finale of the IPL game this season. So like there are cricket analysts who would look at the pitch, who would kind of look at the weather and gauge in terms of what should be the thing and how it works. And it's some sort of a like scientifically based intuition, and there are scientific backing to these things, and it's easier to kind of understand, because if it's if it's a rainy day, or if it's going to be more warmer, the ball is made out of leather material, so based on that, it turns, or so on and so forth, right? So how does it work with the intuition that we have at an interpersonal level or at a personal level? How does these things work?
Okay, so I'll just give you a small background of where I started out. Okay, I started meditating when I was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
I used to see colors around people naturally.
Oh,
And by the
fantastic.
time, so by the time I was 18 or 19, I started seeing angel colors walking through all of the walls.
Oh, wow.
And at age 21, my grandfather's spirit actually came and he told me that my father will die in 2 months' time. So, and I come from a psychology background, so I was also a lot into science and scientific and logic. Even though I could see things, I was like, okay, fine, that's just another part of me. I do not want to acknowledge that it's happening to me. Something is going on. I don't know what. But when this incident occurred, and after 2 months, my father did pass away, uh, I started dwelling more into it, and you know, working upon it. As in, why me? I mean, I'm just an ordinary person. Why would I get these sort of information? Why not my other family member? Maybe my mom, maybe my sister. Why is it that this information that my father would pass away come to me? So I started reading up more. I went back to my college. I went to my teachers. I asked my teachers that, I think something is really wrong with me, and I need to be assessed psychologically. Possibly I have some schizophrenia or something. And So my teacher, the beautiful aspect is that in our culture in India, we rarely judge people by what they see because it's part of our culture. We grow up seeing, the traditional uh, things in the rural zone that happens where people are actually dancing and goddess is giving them some intuitive information. So I think it's part of our culture that people say, oh yeah, somebody is intuitive, and people do get answers.
But is that
And
real, Taranum? I've always been fascinated with the idea of, when even when you said that, right? Like, I'm just trying to understand. I'm sure it is real because
yeah,
you are a testimony to that. There are a lot of people.
yeah,
I personally, during Navratri, right? I remember I lived in a society where it was a majority of Gujaratis, so we would have like a lot of activities around Navratri, and especially I think the first day pre-celebration or the pre-dance performances, there would be arti happening. And I remember this lady who would get into that state of
Devi
trance,
zone.
the Devi zone, and she would tell that this is what you have to do to this family, to that family. And I've always wondered, right? Like, imagine it's so natural for us to be a part of that kind of a thing. And in the West, they would call it a shamanic ritual or like some
Yeah,
fancy
some
word,
fancy word.
some fancy stuff, and this is that, and like Holy Spirit or God knows or whatever. But I've always wondered, how do I put it? Intoxicants,
Psychedelics. Let's come to that.
psychedelics. And I've had some great experiences when I have, and some intense experiences as well.
Yes.
Something that I by default would have maybe not been able to experience in that sense,
Oh, for
looking
sure.
at things, the colors, the sounds, the whole
Yes.
experiential bit, right? So I feel, is this experiential bit got to do with a state of mind, or is it actually an ability to connect with a dimension that is maybe not easily accessible or not easily known to us? Like,
Yes.
what is your opinion on the same?
So if you were to ask me from a psychological perspective, I think that, the first thing that you're taught in psychology is that the human brain is so deep and so immense that no one can actually get to the depths of it. Even Sigmund Freud has turned around, or Carl Jung, all of these, famous psychologists would have, confirmed and said that the human mind is deep. And we till few years ago, the pineal gland was not known that, what does it do, but it does release hormones and endorphins and all of that to help you reach a particular state where you can resolve a lot of things. Now, my own personal experience with this was very weird. Okay, so I used to also look down upon people who are dancing and say that, okay, fine, इनको आंग में आया है when we say क्या चल रहा है पता नहीं. So
क्या
it felt,
भांग पी के आए or
हाँ,
whatever.
भांग पी के आया, whatever. But there was one instance when I visited this pandal in Lokhandwala, when this Durga Ma and that actor, that singer Abhijit, he has this, and
Yeah,
they play this
Bhattacharya.
dhol, Bhattacharya. They
Mm,
have
mm,
this
mm.
dhol which is going on, nagaras in the evening. And that was such a powerful experience for me because I stood there and I literally felt that this Ma energy just push came inside of me. And I said, no, 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 no. I'm not doing what I saw what people do. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with my hair all around and dance like that. Not me. I know I'm a channel. I know I can intuit. I know that these energies are part of life. Okay. But I'm not open to this as yet. And she moved out. And I saw that energy, literally a color, move out from me. And
Mm.
immediately I saw another woman start dancing. So
Wow.
it's an experience.
I wish I was able to experience it the way you kind of said. Of course, I have experienced, some sort of those kind of energies, and especially on like a lot of psychedelics in the past, where
Yeah.
especially during college days, right? Those
Yeah.
active days, you want to experiment, you want to kind of uh, be one with the cosmos. And it's so true that there is so much of a loss of the identity that we hold with ourselves, and who we think what we are and who we are, and all those good bads and all of that. And sometimes also when you're in that zone, like especially in the psychedelic experience that I'm talking about, uh,
Yes.
especially when you're in that zone and suddenly your identity is, you kind of just assimilate with your identity, and then you see that, oh my god, I'm going through all this, versus where you're already in that, right? Like I'm just
Yeah.
giving you, so that sometimes can get a little sort of a tacky experience, but when you're in that, it's just so lost. You're, it's the
Lost.
whole experiential bit.
Yeah.
But when you're saying that you could experience that energy was coming into you, and you consciously kind of said that you don't want to be a part of it or experience it
True.
or be attracted or affected by it, and you kind of saw that going away, how do you be so conscious? Like, let's say for a common man, right? How can he or she experience these things in life? What are the tools that he or she can have access to? What should one do to get into these psychic experiences?
The, the most beautiful part is that to have these psychic experiences, you don't need to do some massive workshops or courses, though I teach them. But the best part is that you can sit with yourself for 15-20 minutes a day. Just sit down, don't chant, don't do anything, just sit down with yourself, allow those thoughts to come. And it's a progress. Like I started when I was 4, so possibly I just started off early in life. You can always start whatever age you are at, and the more you keep doing that, it's like building your muscle memory, right? The more you keep working on your own self, your
Mm,
own powers, you kind of reach a state where you get your premonitions, your intuition, your awareness, your awakening begins to happen. Your conscious state of awareness starts. So it's not like it's a 24 by 7 active state. It's a state that I can get into and get out of. I
mm,
can be as human, as nutty, as crazy as I want to be, but when I'm in that zone, the feeling of that divinity is so powerful, so immense, that it's just a way of life.
mm,
And we need to shift our way of life towards that divinity. I
mm.
wouldn't want to call it any god energies or one particular cultural energies. It's more to do with I nowadays I don't even like to call it spiritual energies. It's so I think everything is so tattered with spiritual energy. I'm a spiritualist, I'm a this, I'm a that. We cannot be anything, we need to be nothing.
Yeah, the identity, the idea of taking up identities versus losing it all, right? I mean, I think
True.
it's quite an exciting conversation on that note. uh
Yeah.
but I'm an average, I consider myself an average Joe, right? Average human being. I want to have these psychic experiences. What should I do, Taran?
So what you need to do is you need to get up at around 3:30 or 4 a.m. in the morning,
The Brahma
and
Muhurtam
the Brahma Muhurta, and you need to sit at that time. Or if you can do astral travel,
project. Mm,
okay, if you can project astrally, then before you sleep, do the astral projection and it will start increasing. So every night, tell yourself that this is what I'm going to clear in my life, and probably write it down in a journal, because astral travel sometimes you won't even remember where you have been to. And
mm,
who knows, you and I would have met astrally. So you just do an astral travel, and when you come back in the morning, you
mm,
might be feeling tired or exhausted because you've traveled a lot, not physically, but mentally.
mm, mm,
But when you come back and you do it day after day, day after day, day after day, you will start getting into the zone of conscious awareness. And like I said, meditation is the easiest and simplest way to do that. Give away all of the thoughts which speak out or scream out judgment and rationality, because we know that for sure there is no fact to life. Life is just beginning of life and death, and everything in between is what we are experiencing.
Wow, that's great. I think I should definitely take that up. And so what should I do? Like, is it like some sort of music that I tune into for astral projection? Like, I generally do a lot of these sleep music, which has these high level of whatever 728 hertz music, and it does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even honestly, like if you personally ask me, even without that, once I'm asleep, I'm asleep. But
Yes, yes,
of
sleep.
course, there are some of these days when I feel that when I've had that music played around and I wake up a little more fresh, maybe, or what? Or is it just a thought? Like I'm a confused soul when it comes to these things. Like, is it a thought which is so powerful that kind of helps me kind of feel and experience it, or is it for real that is what it is? Like I'm a bit confused in that sense. It's like saying, right, like to be happy, do you need a lot or do you not need a lot? It completely depends on your belief system. So is it a belief system that, so for example, let's say you believe that you're happy because you have a lot of love around you, right? But there are people who believe that they're not happy because they don't have what they want, and that might necessarily be even like, love or material possessions or whatever it is in general, right?
Mm.
So is it that belief system that, oh, you know what, I have had an astral projection or a psychic experience, and you just wake up believing that, and because you believe like that, you experience things that way? Or is it in real, because these things are intangible, right? Like when I say real and like love and the idea of happy, or even the psychic experiences,
Yeah,
these are not tangible things.
true,
Like let's say there is a camera or a mic in front of me or so on and so forth. These are tangible. I know for sure they exist in this tangible world.
true.
But if I just assume that
Yeah.
there is so much of, whatever it is, like these in a psychic experience or happiness or these intangible things. So what is your point about it? Like I'm saying, I know I'm putting it across as a very confused soul, as a person, as a naive person who wants to know more. And because you're an expert, I'm sure that there's so much value that you could add to this.
Friends, I'm no expert. I'm just a normal being who has had these weird experiences. I consider myself to be the most weirdest person to be around. And I feel that, yes, belief, what is a belief? Belief is something that you've told yourself again and again and again and again and again, and it's become a fact for you. And
Mm,
when this is so sharp, when you program it, it will fine tune. It's like
mm,
radio frequencies. You don't see those frequencies, like you're playing the music at a particular hertz.
mm.
That was developed by Gregory Gorbovi. The frequencies that you see everywhere, by this Russian guy who believed that he could get people out from the dead. And unfortunately,
Oh.
he couldn't get people out from the dead. uh, but he did give these frequencies, and these frequencies are amazing. And I'm sure that, as naive as we are, as innocent that we are, I would say that we've got this innocence, rather than, uh, let's bring a new term in. Instead of being rational, I think it's more of innocence, because we're not aware of the
Mm,
energies that are there all around. And when we say that this is real because it's tangible, and this is not real because it's not tangible, or this is not
mm,
part, but you are still experiencing love, you are still experiencing happiness, you are still
mm,
experiencing sadness, depression. All of these things are an experience for you.
mm,
And
mm,
every experience has come from somewhere, right? It
mm,
would have come from a concept, or it would have come from some aspect of life, which
mm,
has given you that energy, that this has been an experience for you.
mm,
So when we talk about astral projection or any of these psychic abilities, uh, initially I would say, yes, fake it till you make it, because your logical brain will keep on doubting again and again, because that's how we are programmed. But
mm,
the day that barrier of logic breaks, and
mm.
that break does come about,
Yeah.
that breakthrough is the point of the ray of hope and light coming within that soul.
Fantastic. You know why I resonate with this idea is because my mom is a cancer survivor, and she tells
Wow.
me how praying to God or like Jesus or Mother
Yeah.
Mary has helped her in terms of that, and it's her strong belief, and for that belief, like maybe for me, it's a bit illogical when I look at it. I know I understand the power of belief and how it kind of helps you shape up a lot of impossible things, makes it possible, and even for like maybe beyond logic or beyond certain science
True.
where some things might just look, but it's just that the belief can rearrange a lot of things in your head and mind, and can
Yeah.
have a lot of physical effect, emotional, mental effect. It's so true. And as you said, it's at that point when you start consistently doing it, you break that barrier, hit that wall where logic just doesn't seem a necessity for you to experience that in
Yeah.
that sense. So I think that's a very powerful thing that you kind of just put across. And I could just take it back to my experience with mom, because for her it's
Yeah.
important that she goes to church on every Sunday. It's
True.
important that she does her prayers as per time, and so on and so forth, because that's the fuel to her, that's the driving force for
Yeah.
her energy in whatever drives her belief systems. And I think so. What are your thoughts about this? Should you have something like, is it good? Like, I'm not for or against sort of a person for somebody to go to temple, church, mosque, or anything of that sort. It's like whatever floats your boat. But let's say for somebody who doesn't go to church or a temple or a gurudwara or a mosque, or is not a hyper religious sort of a person who's like, okay, Bhagwan dekh lega sort of a thing, right?
Huh.
Because in that sense, Bhagwan, or let's say whatever name or shape
Name.
or color or
Correct.
whatever we give it,
Energy. Yeah.
whatever
That.
energy, right?
And
Or
yeah.
cosmic energy also.
Cosmic
Some
energy.
somebody who doesn't believe in that and believes that the power is within yourself. Like, I'm a
Oh,
staunch
true.
believer in the idea that it's within myself. And when I say it's within myself, I'm not saying it from a point of arrogance that
Correct.
I'm a big dude, or whatever that sort. It's just that I know that when I'm saying that I is not referring to Clince, but that sort of a life energy within myself, which has the power to determine, decide, make things happen. So for
True.
somebody who doesn't have as much as clarity in the power of the life energy, or I, or me, or whatever, who doesn't subscribe to the idea of God, how can he or she work through or walk through the challenges of life when he himself or herself is down and out? Because mom could walk through cancer because she believed in God, and she said, oh, I don't have to worry. Of course, doctors, medicine, and all of that is the supplementation, but God is going to take care of me. Where there is that much of hope and belief, it kind of gives you everything that you need, more than what a doctor can give you, more
True.
than what the modern science can give you. And that power, for someone who doesn't believe in God in the sense of traditionally,
Yeah.
see, it's easy, right? In today's times, the Gen Z would always say, I don't go to church, but I believe in
Yeah.
cosmic energy, because it's become like a yo thing to say. And but when you go to church, you have certain, like as you said, right, like the gratitude journal, the
Yeah.
manifestation cards. These are the tools that we use, or the exercises that we do to
Yeah.
kind of be in tune with our belief system and drive that. When you
Yes.
go to church, there are those things. When you go to gurudwara or mosque, or you do those things that makes you
True.
feel that. But when you don't have these practices, when you
Yeah.
don't have those things, and you just say that I'm a believer of cosmic energy, and the universal forces and all those jazz, right?
Yeah.
How can that help someone if they don't do these practices or whatever exercises?
Oh,
Will
there.
that help them?
It does. It does. So, there are times when I personally also go through these phases, because I come from a multicultural background. My father was a Muslim. My mother was a Gujarati who went to temples, and later my father converted to Christianity.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have been through all sort
There
of
is everything.
everything. Amar Akbar Anthony, all
Amar Akbar
your.
Anthony, yeah.
So coming from three different cultures, I was also never forced to sit and do a mantra jap, or even say that, okay, you need to pray 5 times, or you need to follow a certain ritual. And I kind of wanted to experience everything. So I would go and read up on all the scriptures and say, wow, this is so amazing. This is so beautiful. This is so different. And I kind of understood that all of them were leading humanity to probably just to this time. Okay.
Mm,
I'm not sure after this if any of this will work,
mm,
because we are entering an a time period, or let's say the ultimate Aquarian time period, where we're going to be talking about the cosmic energies more. And
mm,
it's not just with the Gen Z. I think most of us would have gone through it all our lives, that not wanting to go to church, not wanting to experience reading your prayers 5 times or going to the temple, because you felt that the temple was right here within you. You didn't need to
mm,
seek anything out there. Now, my answer to that would be whatever works.
mm,
If you want to believe in yourself, well, believe it. But
mm,
believe it to such a madness level that it takes you to that place of peace.
mm.
Be
The
crazy
story
enough.
comes back to the belief system again, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It is about breaking that threshold of that belief structure, because
Mm,
we have got programmed so many times over so many things. It is ultimately the programming that needs to shift.
yeah.
The thought process is part of your programming. The visualization is part of your programming. The more
Mm,
different that you are able to visualize, the more different aspects of your creativity that you are able to determine from yourself will lead you to that space of, whether we call it happiness, divinity, bliss, peace, whatever, because these are just
mm,
names.
mm. That's true. That's true. That's
Ultimately,
true. I
it's
mean,
that
yeah.
space.
That it's that space, right? And so true. I mean, various cultures will kind of put it across in different ways. The Buddhist idea of the same might be a little different set of like, let's say, practices, and so would be a Christian or an Islamic or a Hindu, or like, or whatever other folk cultures that we have. But at the end of the day, it's all about, like, if you take everybody's brain into that into the lab, you would see that somebody who has beaten the idea of certain logical threshold and has strong set of belief systems, their brains have similar activities happening in that sense, right?
Yeah,
Especially when they believe in that ultimate power, or because it gives you hope, it gives you the
yeah,
power to deal with challenges,
true.
and the better, it's like saying a better sports person is somebody who practiced a lot more than the other person,
Yeah,
had a proper diet, did all those things, that like Usain Bolt is better than his peers because he
yeah,
did all that he could.
yeah.
And also, maybe not just him, and when we talk about karma, right, it's also his ancestors, for him to have those
Genes.
physical abilities, the genetic codings within himself, is not just only his ability, his own doings, right? So it's also a lot got to do with his ancestors as well. And that's
Yeah,
quite
and then he
a,
became the channel for it.
yeah, yeah, so true.
He's the vessel.
Wow.
The vessel is more important than the energy.
Hmm. Mm, for sure, for sure. And now, I mean, he goes on and now inspires. Now we have technology, so he can now pass on the message across to
True.
millions of billions of people, in fact.
Billions of people. True.
Yeah, yeah.
True. It's how, like I said, when we started, we said how you can start off with being responsible for
Mm,
what we are giving out. And
yeah.
we could be going through a hell of a challenges in our own lives, which is
Mm,
okay. And
mm,
we could have any kind of spiritual experiences or religious experiences that we could be experiencing. But
mm,
the ultimate purpose is to have
mm,
that space of emptiness.
mm. Yeah. Where you're not so occupied with things and thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. Again, back to the start of the conversation about the memory and imagination bit again.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
as empty, to be in the now,
no,
to be more relaxed, to be more enjoying that every second that we are passing through, and
yes,
doing that. And I think in that whole pursuit of that experience. The goodie bag that you kind of have shared has definitely going to be a very good tool for me to kind of
Thank you.
walk on the path. Yeah, I mean
Thank you.
that's a
Thank
great
you so
jam. Yeah,
much.
I don't know. Tell me about past life regression. Because I was a very close friend of mine. She was involved in past life regression and tarot card reading and very these. For some reason, it's never like I have as we just discussed, everything we discuss now just becomes the base for whatever things that we generally kind of talk about in life, right? Like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
belief system or the logic, the threshold of logic we have to
Threshold of
broken,
logic. Yes.
and so on and so forth. Uh, so she was very heavy practitioner of uh, these art forms, or what do we
Tools.
call it?
Yeah,
These
the
tools.
tools, divination
Yeah,
tools,
these.
like they
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. And for some reason, I've never subscribed to these things, but I'm sure she has helped a lot of people. It has had a massive impact in people's lives. Of course, I've done a couple of sessions with her, and there were things that I could rationalize with, and there were things that was beyond my rationality. And but as we discussed, it's about beating beyond the idea of logic that you've come with your preconceived notion. Some of it, it
Yeah.
might just be basic
Yeah.
cultural ideas of things because we
Yeah.
are born and brought up here. So some of those things are that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot. It does give a lot of
Yeah.
context.
But there is a lot of research which is already happening in our country on um, past life, and in fact, there is in Juhu itself. If you go to Bhakti Vedanta ISKCON, they are in association with BITS Pilani. They are doing a lot of research uh, on various aspects of the consciousness and awareness, and what is
Mm,
it. Oh, the kind of information that you get from there is so massive, it just blows the mind away.
mm,
Then there is this doctor in Nimhans, Bangalore, and I don't know if we should name her, but she's a clinical psychologist, and she does a lot of research on past lives, and she has around 800 or 1000 cases of past lives from the various villages in Karnataka, where even small children who would have spoken about their past lives, they actually take her to that home and make her meet their previous
wow.
people, family members. There was one case which was mentioned in her, thesis or her research, is that there was somebody who was killed, and this child said that I know who killed me, and took her research team people exactly to that spot and got the weapon, got those people arrested. It was so amazing, because I'm sure there is something more to our life than just living it by the way. We are
Mm,
definitely you're clearing our baggages and our karmic debts, and we're probably giving good stuff, bad stuff. We're doing a lot of energy exchange. Now that could also be a part of, like, have you heard of the sleeping prophet? So this guy, what Edgar Casey actually talks about the collective consciousness, and a lot of Edgar Casey's books are based on how he treated people while he was sleeping. So he would do the astral. So he would sleep. Somebody would go to him. He would say, "Okay, you sit down," and he would sleep, and then he would come up with a solution after he had awakened for that person, and it would work. So
mm,
he spoke a lot about the collective consciousness. So when we are
mm,
talking about everything about past life, or some sort of information from the previous lifetime, it's not necessarily your own. It could
mm,
also be from a collective conscious mind, from where you are
mm,
drawing in inferences and information, and the frequencies. You're just tuning into that frequency, and you're getting your answers from that time. My take on past life mostly is that we all have a story, and stories are extremely important to heal ourselves
mm,
from any kind of experience or pain, or get over someone's death, or if you're grieving everything. And during your past life, your brain gives you a story.
Mm,
Now that's another thing, that where does that story come from?
mm,
Does it come from your collective consciousness, or does it come from your memory of something, or any of that? That's a different story altogether. But the
mm,
story is important.
mm,
And when you have that story and you're living it and you're experiencing it in the now,
mm.
you're healing a part of your life.
Oh, wow. Wow. Very difficult for me to kind of break the threshold of my logic, but I believe that I'm sure that it does, like, those experiences, like, when you say that you've experienced a lot of that. I wish I could also have those kind of crazy experiences. But I know that that experience can also only come if you believe in it. And
When you
is there a
leave
way,
the belief, when you
is there a
leave the belief,
when I leave the belief? Fantastic. In fact, a friend of mine was telling me about how she was trying to connect with her ancestors, um, and she was telling me that she had some professional come and help her do that. And she was telling me that, oh, it was, the whole process got a bit delayed because I was trying to figure out the name of my ancestor or something of that sort. And I said, would that really matter? Because you're no more connecting with like a physical realm of, like, let's say if I'm calling you Taranum, you call me
yeah,
Clince, but it doesn't exist when I'm not in this form, right? It's an
yeah,
energy form. So I was so like, so I said, does it even work, like, or is it just that some that professional told you and you believed in it, and hence, like, you think that you connected with that soul or whatever it is? Like, what do you mean by connected? Like, did you see that person when you closed your eyes, or did you feel a touch, or could you hear speaking? Like, in psychedelic experiences, I've had some massive stuff which are even like beyond, like like beyond, I couldn't even put it into words, because
true.
those are some mad shit that I've done back in college days. But yeah, I mean, if you experience, it's like if you've not done LSD, right? And
I
so
know. I am always on a high. I'm
yeah.
perpetually in that state.
Yeah, it's like if you've not done LSD, you can't tell someone how it feels to have done an LSD experience. And it's just one of those kind of things. So when she said that, I felt that it's the same with me as well. I can't write it off just because I have not had that experience. It's like someone has had it, they believe in it, and I can feel it when they kind of explain the whole thing. And that does help them become a better person at the end of the day, right? Whatever helps them solve it. And
Yeah,
it's like that same story back to what I was telling you about my mom. And if going to church has helped her heal her cancer, where the doctors had given up, or they said that maybe it has a certain kind of expiry date, and
yeah,
we've long passed that expiry date. She gave birth to my sister after all that complications. My sister is in Canada now doing her masters. So all of those kind of things, some of those medical science findings have just gone beyond, because there are those exercises and tools. Traditionally we call it as like religious
yeah,
practices, has helped her, and to each to his own, so on and so forth. I
yeah,
think it's fantastic. The way I
yeah.
approach it is, some of them are like in what I would call it as some practical approach, some self reflection, and things like that's my, maybe, that's
Yeah.
my church or my
That's
practices sort of things.
yeah. Sometimes just like when you are on the high, you just need to let go.
Hmm.
And the moment you let go, a lot of other things start opening up in
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
Eh, It's like you're saying to your own body and your mind, breathe. Just let go. Just
Wow.
just allow it to flow, because that flow is so important in life. It's like air. It's like breathing. There is nothing tied around it. It's free flowing.
Hmm.
When I see spirits and I talk to entities and spirits and extraterrestrial beings and all of that, I think I just come with the belief that it's okay. I
Mm.
used to be psychologically
Scared a bit, like, oh, what
scared
am
and
I?
like,
Yeah, kya
yeah,
chal raha hai bhai?
क्या चल रहा है ये पागल तो नहीं हो गई अभी. But eventually, I think you just come to a point where you start seeing that there is a higher experience. We don't have a terminology for it, and it's better not to term it. And I just like to call
Mm.
it space. But for people, we would like to call it divine energies because they want to associate with something. If there is no association, I think people would go crazy and wacko in the world.
Yeah,
So we
that's
all
true.
need a hook to be connected to something. Ultimately, it is the God within, or it's just us who's doing
Yeah,
everything. We
yeah.
can alter everything. We are damn powerful.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a strong believer in that for sure. You know,
Yeah,
if you've taken up like if you believe that you can change, if you were, and it's not just the belief, because
yeah. It's
belief,
beyond that.
yeah, yeah, a strong belief can enhance your potential, and enhanced potential will help you take better actions. And only when all of these things come together will you see the results as well. It's like Tony
Yeah,
Robbins talks about the success cycle, and he talks about we all want to achieve great results, but we also know that we can only achieve great results if we take those actions that are required,
yeah.
and that actions can only be taken if you believe that the potential within you will allow you to do that. And if you believe that you can't, and this is not my cup of cake, it's true, you won't be able to do it. Uh,
True.
that's as strong as it is. So the power of belief. So the take back for me from this jam with you, Taranum, is the fact that the power of belief is way beyond how much we can maybe logically assign to it, because
Correct.
people have cured terminal illnesses, have
Illnesses.
healed themselves of you know mental, emotional challenges, physical challenges as well, as we're talking
Yes.
about. So the power of belief, this episode should be called the power of belief,
Power of
featuring
belief. Yes. Yes, that reminds me of how, when I think about the stories of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh,
Mm, mm,
Lord Brahma, we term as creator, and Vishnu is the action taker, and Mahesh is the destroyer of all the negative
mm,
thoughts or negative emotions.
mm,
And if we connect that to Sigmund Freud's id, ego, and superego, then the
mm,
id is all about the mirage that is there. We are constantly living in this mirage of life. And the ego is not the ego that we usually talk about. It's the I, that when you say I, and it's not the, egocentric I. It's just an I, which says
mm,
that this is me. It's an identification.
mm,
And finally, moving on to the destruction of the I, which is way beyond
mm.
who you truly are.
Yeah, wow, that's so true. Okay, I mean, so just this is something that I generally do even for my content, because I kind of talk about, I put it into like a family of 3 tips that one can do, or one should
Yes.
do, or one can try doing to enhance a certain kind of thing. So 3 tips from your end that can add value for our audiences, viewers, or people who are going to eventually listen or see this video, that can practice, so that they can kill their ego not as like an adjective,
Correct.
but in the sense of like a verb, an action that we
Yeah.
constantly want to be in taking in, and and only then in that sense can you be in the present, right, when you're
True.
free of that identities and thoughts and all
Yes.
those additional things. So I mean, in basic sense, 3 tips that can help one be in the present.
3 tips to be in the present. One would be to meditate,
Mm-hmm.
to use affirmations daily,
Mm,
and to create a kind of focus on your internal self, not external.
mm. Yes, and here we have 2 of those products that can help you do that. There is the 51 affirmation cards. Is
Cards.
that visible?
Yes, this
Yeah,
is
there you
visible
go.
now. Thank
51
you.
affirmation cards, and we also have the gratitude
Book.
journal by
Yay.
Taranum Dobrial. There you go. So
Thank
that's
you.
what it is, homies. Uh, check it out. Where can they people can
On
subscribe to
Amazon.
these products?
Yes, they
On
can get it on
Amazon?
Amazon. Yes.
There you go, guys. It's on Amazon. You can also find Taranum on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. There you go,
Yes.
www.taranumdobrial.com.
You can
And it's
follow on Instagram, Taranum Dobrial.
Taranum Dobrial. And there you go. And can people also connect with you to get some like personal sessions and
Yes, they can also connect with me to get one-on-one sessions, and they can visit the website taranumdobrial.com to get all of that information.
fantastic indeed, Taranum. High
Thank
five.
you. High five.
Great,
So
yeah,
when are you
Taranum.
getting married?
Yeah, mostly next year because now that my sister's gone to Canada, it's going to take her a while to come back. And the
Ah,
whole idea of marriage, in the sense, like for me, I feel it's about when people ask me when are you getting married, I tell them that I'm already married. But yes, if you're asking me about
yes.
like when is the wedding
Ritual.
celebrations happening,
Yeah.
the wedding will happen next year mostly. So I
Yeah.
think is marriage is about that two people with two different
True.
thoughts and values and maybe belief systems all coming together
Coming
uh,
together.
to grow together and also enable better opportunities for your family members. And I always say the idea of, I always tell Audrey, it's a jam between us. We say that the idea of us coming together is to enable better opportunities for our families. Uh,
True.
yeah, and it's not just about all those things that we want from each other or our expectations, because
Wow.
when we get into that bit, the friction just keeps getting more and more and more. So let's look
Yeah.
at like the larger picture.
Wow.
And
That's so wise.
yeah, but that's just sometimes that we are able to look at it that way. There are those days as well when we get into the very personal expectations
Yeah,
lost and
yeah,
things like that. So I'm also on a self discovery process of the tools and tricks and exercises that I talk about. And I was talking to Lincia just off the hook.
I
So
know.
Lincia was telling me, Lincia was asking me, so Clince, what is that good thing? Tell me one good thing and one bad thing about being in a relationship, right? And I and Lincia, like Lincia and I, we have like a lot of these deep, intense conversations uh, in general. So
Yeah.
I was saying, Lincia, see, the worst part about this relationship is that this pushes me to the corner, man. I get fucking cornered all the time. There are these moments where I just feel that I wanna just get things. Yeah. So I was saying that the worst part is I keep getting cornered, man. And I never thought that I would be cornered because I was so like self-aware and calm guy and a patient guy and all that kind of guys. That guy doesn't exist when I
Anymore.
keep getting. Yeah, not anymore. Like I don't want to, like, as much as it's true, like I feel like it doesn't exist anymore. But I just keep reminding myself, the more I keep saying that, right, the effect of it is I will keep it, it'll be like pressure cookering myself, because
Yeah.
I have been just constantly, like, it's like subconsciously I've been communicating with myself saying that, oh, I'm not the guy that I was more cooler, I was more patient, I was a better guy.
Yeah,
This
you
relationship is
was.
making me, I was, right? So there are, of course, I have those chats with myself where I say that I was, and consciously also then I remind myself that that's, though I feel like that means that there are things that I need to work upon, and that's the best part of the relationship also, because I keep getting cornered, which means there is growth, there is a potential growth opportunity there. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if I was where I was, right, I was already patient, I was already that, but then how is
Yeah.
that patient guy getting angry or losing his control? That means there is more layers of patience or more layers of something that I need to still grow within. And maybe today I'm not what I will be in the future, or in a year, or like
Yeah.
5 years, or from there on. But I know that I'm going to work on it today, because only like that will I be there tomorrow, and
True.
so on and so forth.
True.
So that's the worst and the best part of being in a relationship. And I was just joking about it to Lindsay, and she said, Clince, listen, I'm not here for one of your TED Talks, but I'm seriously asking you, what is that worst and best part? I said, dude, I'm serious, because it's this is what it is. Like, if you want to give me, if you want me to give you that very over the top sort of, oh, it feels great to be cuddling into each other and sleeping,
Yeah,
and
I
all those,
know.
That
stuff.
is great. That is always great.
Yeah.
You will always feel great doing that. There will be thoughts
Yeah.
of wanting to do that with someone else also, because it's the theory of marginal utility. The first glass of water when you were thirsty was so quenching and thirst quenching and all of that. By the time the fifth glass didn't feel the same. But then that's
True.
the idea, right? That's what you want to grow into. And you want to grow
Yeah.
more mature and older and wiser, and something
Wiser.
that you kind of, now it's about growing life together. And like for me, these are like very exciting moments, because I never thought that I would be that guy who would take that insult on my face and still pursue on not being hurt and not, whatever, or not ghost someone and all that kind of thing. So it's very
True.
exciting, and I'm sure it's the same for her as well. And I
I'm sure.
understand that it's not just like, if I feel something intense on me, it's only because she has
Yeah.
to express something which is not her natural state as well.
True.
Who wants to be sour, right? Who likes to be sour? Nobody likes to
True.
be
Nobody
sour.
likes to be sad.
So and I've never been in like a very serious sort of like a relationship where we're pursuing a future. It was always
Yeah.
about, let's have fun today, and like it's for the day, and we'll see what's happening tomorrow. So I tell myself that, hey Clince, there is so much to learn. And
Yes.
when you're learning these things, don't be the reason for your own demotivation, and create these subconscious dialogues or language
Correct.
that is not helpful. So
Yeah.
so
And
yeah,
grounding helps.
and yes, it does. So I always say I'm a work in progress, and but yes, I'm working on myself now, so that I can be a better me tomorrow. So yeah.
True. Yes. Yeah, we are all work in progress.
We're all work in progress. Yeah, so
And
true.
who wants to be perfect? It's all
I
a
it,
myth.
that idea sounds great. Yeah, as you said, it's a myth. It sounds great that I wish I didn't have to go through this, but
Yeah.
it's only when you go through this and when you're on the other side, you feel that, oh wow, I've evolved. I feel
Yes.
more empowered. I've
More
done the
empowered.
unthinkable. So yeah, I want
Yeah.
to do that. I want to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
thank you so much for doing this for me. I'm truly
fantastic.
grateful. I'm
No, no,
truly
come on.
grateful
It's
from the
it's a
bottom
great
of my
jam.
heart.
And I think it's only through these conversations I feel there is so much to learn, and you reiterate a lot of things that you've learned, or it's in some
Yes.
corner of your mind or brain or whatever you call it, or
Mm.
your conscious whatever, and then you just kind of dust across those books and like just get it
Bring
back,
them
or those
back.
information. So it's great.
Yes.
And I think I constantly talk about the importance of that belief system and working on that belief system. And
Yeah.
it's not something that you can just work. It's like you can't just get fitter or lose
Fitter.
weight or build abs overnight. It's a work, like you got to keep working, working, working,
Working on
working.
it. Yes.
And
Same goes for your, like people, some people ask me, how can I be a psychic like you? I say, you need to sit down and do the shit work that is inside of you.
it's I know. So true, so true. That's so much of work that goes into it. 100%,
Yeah, and
100%.
people just want that, like, possibly fast food. You
We're in that insta reel generation, right? Everything is like
like they
15
were
seconds. It has to be
changes.
fast. It has to be fast and quick.
I was telling my sister the other day that, when they do this and the color changes of their clothes, I think we should
Yeah, we should also be able to have those ability to just change our moods,
abilities.
right? I'm
Mm.
angry and like, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm like excited, or I'm like whatever.
Yeah, true.
So, but I think, you know what, honestly, I think science is moving towards that zone where Elon Musk is talking about putting some chip in our head, and then
Yeah.
we can literally maybe just press that button and experience it,
Telepathic
apparently.
communication.
God
He's
knows
doing
what.
telepathy. I was telling, see, I teach people how to do it, and he's bringing a chip now. He's my competition.
Yeah, like all of what we're doing, right, after a while might not be necessary at all, because
Uh,
everything is going to be automated. It's just like at some point to communicate, people would have had evolved that highest level of human engineering to
yeah.
communicate across distances and feel it. And like there are these poems about lovers who are in different places, they could
Faces.
connect and feel. Now we have this device, we don't need to put in so much of effort. We can just do the same thing
Do it.
with these devices. So I think maybe
I know.
we're moving towards a generation, or whatever, times when it will be that like we might not even need this. It'll be just
Yeah.
like that thing. Everybody is
Yeah.
connected into some sort of internet, and it's just happening.
Yeah, I know that's scary time.
I was just discussing this with someone else on a podcast, and I was saying that apparently this is what it's going to be, or this is what I
Okay.
understand is going to happen
Oh,
from
it
what I
will.
hear.
It will.
And they were like, dude, this is going to be scary. And like, what is the idea of emotions and expressing? And because then everybody's going to be a singer, everybody's going to be a dancer, everybody's going to be a comedian, and everybody's going
Everyone.
to be a pro of like, everybody's going to be
That's
that.
already happened. That's already happened with AI coming in. There's
Mm,
so much of advancement already, right?
yeah,
They're
yeah,
replacing trainers. They're replacing us now.
yeah, yeah.
They will just take a voice and they will say, okay, fine, you can be anywhere in the world. We don't have to pay you to travel anywhere.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, times are exciting. I'm sure humans always learn to evolve and keep up
True.
with times. I
Keep
think
up with times. Yes.
we're gonna learn to do that as well.
True. That's true. Yes. So thank
Fantastic.
you. It was
Thank you very much.
amazing. Thank you very much for doing this for me.
I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yes.
Let me know.
Thank
I
you.
am excited to share through the content as well.
Sure.
Cheers. All right. Take
Bye
care,
bye.
and I'll connect with you soon.
Yes.
Just a second. This one for the Instagrammers. I'm gonna just make one.
Ah, selfie. Selfie, selfie.
Okay, just getting. Am I audible to you?
Yes.
You are. Can you please just say something? I mean,
Hi, can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect.
Amazing.
And all right, another beautiful day of connecting. Say hi to Taranum. What's up, Taranum? How you doing? You had
I'm
fun?
doing amazing. Yes. And thank you so much for this beautiful,
Yay!
beautiful time spent with you.
I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Taranum. And full power to you.
Bye bye.
Ciao. Take care. Bye.